Change your perspective and your experience will also change. So there is a phenomenon called inattentional blindness. This inattentional blindness has its consequences in our life, where there are so many things to be grateful for, but our biased brain dumps them all. We don't realize it, but we see things the way we wish to see them, and then blame circumstances for being what they are. Did you know that you can change your experience of misery to that of happiness merely by changing the way you look at things? The American philosopher William James put it so aptly. He said, "My experience is what I decide to attend to." There are so many stimuli in our environment. We can choose which to focus upon. In Hindi, there is a saying, "Drishti badlo, to srishti badal jayegi." Change your perspective and your experience will also change. I'm reminded of a nurse who was working in an army hospital in Kashmir and met me a few years later. She said, "Swamiji, once I was attending to 2 soldiers in a ward, both in operations against terrorists, had one leg blown off in a grenade explosion. But their moods were so different. The first soldier was full of complaints. Why did the commander send me on that operation? My colleagues let me down. It is unfair of the government not to take stricter action against the terrorists." It would seem as if the whole world had conspired against him to blow his leg off. But the nurse said, in the same situation was another soldier who was full of gratitude. He was saying, "I had such a close encounter with death, and yet I came out alive. God is so kind. So what if I have lost a leg? Nowadays there's technology, I'll get an artificial limb, but I live to see my children and my wife. I am exceedingly blessed to have a second chance at life." The situation was the same for both these soldiers. What had happened had already happened. There was no way to reverse the clock. The choice was how to see this experience. And that perspective was making such a contrasting difference between abject, dismal misery and euphoric gratitude and joy. So there is a phenomenon called inattentional blindness. What is that? There has been one of the most famous experiments in psychology called the gorilla test. A video was created of about 40 seconds with 2 teams of basketball players, one wearing black dress and the other wearing white dress. Each team had 3 on their side. And they go around passing the ball amongst themselves, so it's a little confusing scenario. The assignment given to the viewer is to count the number of times the white players pass the ball amongst themselves. It's not too difficult. You go on counting and you come to the answer 16. And that is when the video asks, "Did you notice the gorilla in the set?" and 46% of the viewers, they had no idea a gorilla had appeared. Well, the fact was, halfway through the video, one man wearing a gorilla dress enters right into the center of the screen and then beats his chest like that and disappears to stay on the screen for 5 seconds. But people did not realize the gorilla. The reason was they were so focused on the white players. Their neurons merely dumped the sighting of the gorilla. This inattentional blindness has its consequences in our life, where there are so many things to be grateful for, but our biased brain dumps them all. And that leads to a phenomenon called selective perception. We don't realize it, but we see things the way we wish to see them, and then blame circumstances for being what they are. One man used to sit outside a village, and whenever travelers would come by, they would ask, "How are the people in this village?" He would ask, "How are the people in the place from where you have come?" If they said, "Very nice people," he would respond, "Those in this village are also so nice." If they said they were extremely awful, he would say, "You'll find miserable people here as well." How accurate was he? Because it was not the people per se, but their perception of the people. Let me read about this to you from my latest book, The Art and Science of Happiness. Innumerable stimuli impinge upon us from the outer world at every moment. We can pay attention to only a few of them. Based on what we choose to observe, we develop differing perspectives. Selective perception explains why everyone sees things differently. While selective perception works in our favor by keeping our attention on important matters, it can harm us too. When we are biased, we consciously or unconsciously skew our worldview. It is easy to fall into the trap of judging people, playing favorites, and becoming self-righteous. Biases negatively distort our perception of reality. So, for example, let us say you decided to buy a new car and went to the Tata Motors showroom and selected the Nexon model, the blue-colored one. On your way back home, you started seeing the blue Tata Nexons everywhere. "Oh my God, there's another one. Oh, there's one parked." Now, was it a strategy by the marketing department of the showroom just to tilt your decision in favor of purchase by putting extra Nexons into the environment? Of course not. They had always been there, but you were not aware. And when it was primed in your brain, you became more perceptive to them. Now, the consequence of this in your personal experience of life is so impactful. One lady was always unhappy. Her neighbors had given her the name Unhappy Lady. And that unhappy lady came to meet Swamiji. She shared her woes and said, "Swamiji, I have 2 daughters. The first I married to a brick maker. The second I married to an umbrella seller. Now, whenever the weather is cloudy or rainy, the brick-making daughter calls me up and says, "Mummy, how will we manufacture bricks? Please pray to God that there should be sunshine." And whenever there is sunshine, the umbrella-selling daughter, she cries, "Mummy, our sales are affected today. Please ask God to send the rain." Either there will be sunshine or there will be clouded sky. So, in both situations, I am unhappy. Please tell me the solution, Swamiji. I said, "Mataji, why don't you just switch things around? The weather will be as it is. All you need to do is, when it's a sunny day, think of your brick-making daughter and be happy. When it's a cloudy day, think of your umbrella-selling daughter and be happy." She did that little switch, and now no matter what the weather, she used to be joyous. The neighbors soon realized it, and they changed her name. They started calling her the Happy Lady because she was joyous from day to day. Well, that is a simple secret of happiness. It is a tool called positive reframing. Most of the circumstances in your life need to be accepted. There is only a little that you can change, but there is so much you can change in the way you look at those circumstances. And this creates a tool called positive reframing. We will discuss more of that in the next episode.